What's up, traders? We're back with another video from BitcoinBikini.com. All right, I want to look at two assets today, and I want to talk about the correlation that we see with them. You probably know where I'm going with this. Let's look at gold and Bitcoin. So gold, looking at this first, and this is a video about my bullish bias. I'm explaining in this video why, although short-term price action is pretty bearish and pretty nasty and pretty bad, and that liquidation event we had a couple weeks ago obviously rocked the market. But I remain with a bullish bias because I don't believe that bull markets end like that. Bull markets end in euphoria. Bull markets end with people waiting in line to get a little chocolate and get their gold, okay? Like you saw the news reports, right? That's how bull markets end. I'm not saying that the gold bull market, I'm not saying that this has topped. It can certainly extend, but you can see that it's like pretty, I mean, it's like pretty peakish. I'm saying that's how you expect a bull market run to end, you know? So as you probably know, Bitcoin and gold are pretty correlated. You can watch some videos about it. It's not like an idea that I thought of or anything. It's not an original idea. They're pretty correlated on a long-term scale. On a short-term scale, they're not as correlated. They have periods where they are correlated and then they're not correlated. But on a long-term scale, they are pretty correlated. So what I'm seeing and other analysts are seeing is that if you take a multi-week approach, if you look at this not as a one day, but let's look at it from a weekly chart and get a better kind of picture there with that. So if we're looking at, let's look at just like not so much, hold on a second. Let's get this. Okay, so if we look at Bitcoin, gold starting from 2020, we see this type of, you know, like first kind of a parabolic move, and then it just kind of ranges for a while, and then another huge parabolic move. Now let's look at Bitcoin on the same time scale. You see the bull market here with that. And then if you go back to gold, it was a bit more muted in gold, that 2020 run after COVID. But you can see a lot of correlation in that both Bitcoin, if we're just starting from 2020 and onward, Bitcoin ran up and then it formed like a huge range, basically, of all this. This is all a range. So what I expect next, and that's why I remain bullish, is I don't know when. It could be late November, it could be December. But if you asked me to put on a trade right now that I was going to hold for the next 6 months, I'm long. I'm long and strong for 6 months. I'm not talking about scalping. I'm not talking about short-term swing trades. I'm talking about what are we going to see over the next 2 quarters for crypto after people rotate profit from crypto, from their gold winning into crypto. Now, is everybody going to rotate? No. But as we see in asset classes, people will, when they have an influx of capital from a win, it is a great percentage. I don't know what the percentage is. I'm not that smart or anything, or I'm not that good with the data, but a significant percentage of investors, when they're up on one asset, will take some of those gains and put them into another asset class that they expect to, that has a delayed run still to come. And that's how I'm looking at the relationship between BTC and gold. If you zoom out and ignore the recent price action, ignore the choppy summer, which was like so unclear, and ignore even a lot of this cycle, which was very unclear, and had a lot of choppy up and down, especially with the Trump tariffs and all that stuff. So if you zoom out, you can see the correlation. You can see that gold had its run up. The first run up was from over here early on, and then it comes down and it ranges, comes back up in 2022, then it chills out again, comes back up in 23, and then it finally breaks out in 24 and onward, and goes on this massive run from 24 until what we're seeing now, people lining up to buy gold and getting little chocolates I think they're so cute when they're getting their little chocolate while they wait for their gold. But this, and let's go back to Bitcoin. Okay, you see that way more of a run up. Okay, crypto is a more volatile asset class. Plus, all the money printing, it benefited crypto more than other asset classes. But you can see that it did that run up, and then obviously it came down, and then it's coming back up, and we should see what I'm expecting to see is we would see that it would break out in the same way as gold did and then go on its final parabolic moon mission. So do you agree with me or do you disagree? Let me know in the comments below.